Scarbrow held his hand in the air, poised to strike the flinching Li Chuan. He slowly lowered it. His steely eyes stared at Quan, as if probing into his deepest being. Scarbrow then knelt before little Shen. Quan prayed. With the regime's one-child policy, Shen was their only future. After Ming had given birth, the doctor had sterilized her without consent. It wasn't as bad as what the Zhangs seated behind them had undergone, the forced abortion of their second child.
Brainwashing children! You are a disgrace, traitors to the Republic!
The weapon of Shoche, shame, was as familiar as old shoes and as painful as shoes 3 sizes too small. When his father was arrested, a teacher fashioned paper and strings and hung on Chuan's neck a sign saying, "Li Tong is a criminal." He had cried uncontrollably.
China is built on the backbone of hard-working citizens,
Scarbrow said,
loyal to their superior socialist system.
As always, propaganda was the seed spread on the ground and tilled by shame. With a rigid swagger, the officer took 3 steps to the side.
Followers of Yesu are traitors. You make me sick.
Scarbrow's eyes looked like the points of 2 ice picks. He reminded Quan of Tai Hong, the deputy chief of police, also powerfully built and cold-eyed with a passion for persecuting Christians. As a 14-year-old, Quan had been taken to his father's jail by a communist worker who made him read a plea, supposedly from his family but written by the communist, to confess his crimes. The memory weighed on Chuan's shoulders like an enormous log. Quan had often longed to ask his father's forgiveness for having been ashamed of him. He knew it was his father who should be ashamed of Quan. One of the young police officers, a smooth-faced lieutenant with reddish freckles, approached the captain nervously. They whispered, appearing to disagree. The young man's deep, raspy voice seemed to be pleading. Quan looked at the book on the bench, the precious cargo he had strapped to his bicycle. It had been hand-copied by his mother. Every day, Quan read his Lord's words in his mother's handwriting. It had nearly been confiscated several times.
Is today the last time I'll ever see it?
By assembling unlawfully, you are subject to imprisonment. But what you deserve is much worse.
While Scarbrow ranted, Quan remembered visiting his father in his last long prison term, watching him waste away, his face misshapen from beatings, crusted with scabs, puffy with infections. Eventually, his face became a chalky mask. But the eyes peering through the mask's eye-holes, though hollowed and jaundiced, were still his father's. Somehow they were full of determination and joy, welling up from some subterranean reservoir. Quan hated it when his father looked at him and said, "Your day will come." His mother told him his father meant it to encourage him. How, he could never understand.
Yesu followers surrender state secrets to foreign devils.
What secrets do you think we know? And why would we disclose them to foreigners?
Quan had longed to hug his father, but they wouldn't let him.
The prisoner cannot be touched.
He had no pictures of his father. They'd all been destroyed when the house burned, after the lantern fell in the earthquake. He tried to remember his father's face at the dinner table, before the crackdown, but he couldn't. He always wanted his father to be proud of him, not ashamed. He never stopped longing to hear his father say to him, "Well done."
What is that?
Scarbrow pointed at Quan's Bible. The worst had happened. Being singled out in a crowd. Would he have to explain why his Shinjin didn't have the government seal?
What is it?
The captain shouted.
It is a message from God.
Quan heard his own voice, surprised at its steadiness. Scarbrow pulled from his own pocket a little red volume.
This is China's book.
The captain was a Mao quoter from the old school. Not long ago, everyone had quoted the book.
Not your Western imperialist Bible.
How many times had Quan been told Christianity was a Western religion? Didn't they understand Yesu wasn't American? Scarbrow needed to watch that movie so he could understand that the world of Yesu was more like rural China than America.
Our revered father, Mao Zedong, said, "The Communist Party is the core of the Chinese people.
Scarborough stared at every person in the room, one by one, studying them.
There are two sides to this room. Those loyal to the party and people must prove it by moving to the left side and out the door. In doing so, they will declare they do not believe in Yesu. They are free to go and will not be punished. Those who choose Yesu will step to the right side.
For a long 5 minutes no one moved. Then one man stepped to the left, toward the door. Immediately, stoop-shouldered Jojin walked to the right. Quan tried to budge his legs, but they felt wobbly, like rusted rain gutters.
In 3 minutes,
Scarborough said matter-of-factly,
we will shoot every man and woman and child who does not declare himself loyal to the people rather than gwelios, foreign devils.
Soft groans erupted across the room. No, this couldn't be. Quan had never heard of such a thing. Killings, yes, of course, 1 or 2 at a time, but not this. What was happening? The captain looked at his watch, stepped aside, leaned against the wall, and observed, as if guessing who would be left for him to execute. Ho Lin and Auntie May came forward and joined Jojin on the right side of their home.
Will they really kill us?
Ming whispered numbly.
I think so,
Quan said.
2 minutes,
Scarborough said. Quan looked toward the right.
We must not let Shen die,
Ming whispered.
He is Jesu's gift to us,
Quan said.
No, not a gift, a loan. God is his father. He will take care of him. We must not lose our only son. God lost his only son. He buried him in a foreign land. I am willing to die,
Ming said, voice cracking.
But I cannot bear to think of their killing Shin. Still, perhaps it is the Lord's mercy for us to die together. I've always thought I might end like my father and great-grandfather, but not you, not Shin.
Quan covered his face with his hands. He felt a small, strong grip on his arm.
Are we not Ju Jesus also?
Ming asked.
Are we not his called and chosen? Why should you be considered worthy and not us?
It had always been this way. Whenever she weakened, he was strong for her. Whenever he weakened, she was strong for him. He leaned over Shen and put his arms around Ming. Then Quan got down on one knee in front of his only son.
Do you understand what the captain is saying, Shen?
The child nodded his head slowly, eyes puffy.
Will you come with us and follow the Lord Ju Yesu?
Face pinched and wet, Shen nodded again. Quan started to pick him up, but instead held his hand and let him walk next to him, son beside father, headed to their destiny. Wordlessly, the three turned their backs on the door and took their stand with those on the right.
60 seconds,
Scarborough called. 3 families, including 3 children, joined Quan and the others. 5 people stood in the middle of the room, starting to move one way and then the other, as if in the center of a tug-of-war. Quan prayed hard for his 3 neighbors standing there.
This is your final chance. Leave now or die.
A woman he didn't recognize headed for the door, followed by a man. Suddenly the 3 neighbors walked briskly over and stood close to Quan and Ming. Quan rejoiced and mourned at the same time. When the 3 had come to Yesu in their home only weeks before, he hadn't dreamed they would die together in church. He counted. 18 people remained. One last man stood inside the door, glancing back as if looking for a third alternative. Scarborough pointed his weapon at the man, who turned and fled out the door into the cold darkness. One of the police stepped outside, weapon pointed, looking around. Re-entering, he shut the door and locked it. Quan, Ming, and Shen clasped each other's hands. Quan breathed deeply and braced himself.
Surely this is the day.